heard it go now. Look around. Okay, before I share, I like for my other half. I said other half. Because together we make the best. So I wasn't going to share.
He did it because we got an anniversary coming up next week. 46 years. Again, good morning to all of you. And yes, we do have a great gathering here. I'm excited about what will be shared here this morning. And I'll probably join a little bit more in the next session. I believe this is what the team, the marriage team is calling a kickoff. So they wanted Pastor to kick it off. So I will join him and be his undergirder. And yeah, so again, we're excited. We're trusting that this year, this new season, that God is going to really do some things in us. I'm sure since we've already begun to focus on the year of transparency, a lot of things have already begun to happen that affect us, of course, individually, and not only as far as the church corporately, but even in our marriages and our families. That God is, we see some things happening already. So we're just trusting that God will exceed our expectations as we continue to yield ourselves to Him. So let's just be open. A few rules that you can't elbow your mate if something is said that you think might confirm something you might have. No elbowing. No whispering to your neighbor. We're not going to make quick and just keep a straight face.
Be hard.
Convicted, just keep a straight face. Amen. We should that God is going to use him to speak into our lives.
One of the things I've learned over the years is that we always set your aims high. You see, you always aim at something that's high. What I mean by that is that when we talk about even God's requirements of us as individuals, He said, I want you to be holy as I am holy. I said, well, that's high as you go. That's real high. Be perfect as I am perfect. Be perfect. So when we talk about marriage, we have to set the standard high. And I call that being idealistic. But at the same time, we have to be realistic. Realistic, where are we now? But then where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want your marriages to go? Where do you want your marriages to develop into becoming? That's one of the questions we have to ask ourselves. What would it look like if you had a perfect marriage? What would that perfect marriage look like? Because some people would wonder, what would a perfect marriage look like? Could that mean he was trying to do what I told him to do? Or she was trying to behave. Because we talk about idealistic, realistic, oftentimes we have a tendency of projecting something on the other person and say, if they would just do, but then when we come to really looking at idealism, the first person to look at is ourselves. Is look at ourselves and say, Lord, how can I be the best me that I can be? And it always begins with the individual. How can I be the best me that I can be? Not how can she be the best person that she can be, or how can he be the best person he can be. It always begins with the individual. I want to be the best man I can be, but not only that, it takes it into marriage. How can I be the best husband that I can be? How, you see, that's the question you have to ask yourself. How can I be the best that I can be? And am I the best?
You see, am I the best? And none of us can answer that and say we are, but which suggests the fact that there's something for us to aim at. There's still room for growth. There's room for development. So I looked at something that I'd written some time ago, and I'm going to break it down so you can understand it. I talked about what marriage is. I said marriage is the continuous merging of the organic growth of self-discovery of the personhood. I mean, it's self-discovery. So it is a merging, it's a continuous merging of organic growth of self. That's what it starts. Let's start there. Because it is saying that I'm becoming more of what I'm yet to become. But now I got somebody else in the picture. It's not just me. But now if I'm going to be my best self, it includes both of us. Because I can't be the best me without her being the best her. Unless she's the best of who she's supposed to be, I can't really be the best that I can be. So look at what happens. So when you talk about marriage, you're getting into an interdependent relationship whereby now you're helping me become the best that I can be. I'm helping her to become the best that she can be, because understand the two shall become one. That we're becoming one. We are one. And now we are, but we're in the process of development. We are developing into something much greater than we would be otherwise. And then it says, here's another part that I wrote down some years ago. It is the discovery of personhood as a result of the further development of personality. Now I want to help you understand this. It is developed personhood as a result of further development of personality. It is saying that you already came here with some baggage. You came here with some baggage. You were who you were when you entered into the relationship. You came here, the person that you were is the person that you brought into the relationship. But understand, to be the best person you can be, if I'm to be the best person that I can be, then I'm recognizing and acknowledging the fact that there's room for development. So now, instead of me just trying to develop independent of my wife, I'm saying, I'm going to share this with you. Let us develop together. And watch it. So now there is the formation of a personality that did not exist before. You understand? So in other words, what I'm really saying is that you can't enter into marriage being your own person.
That's right. That's right.
You cannot enter into marriage and stay married and stay happy being your own person.
That's right.
Got to be some changes. Has to be some adjustment. Has to be, and when you're doing, your personality changes. You begin to think differently. Somebody said this some time ago. He's talking about how he wanted to know. He had a friend. He had a friend. He said he was jealous of his friend's friend. This is in just friendship. He was jealous of his friend's friend. He said, looked like he's spending so much time with his friend. I want to be his best friend. I want to be his best friend. But in other words, I don't want to share him with anybody else. And then his friend died. Wow. And he said, finally I got it. I don't have to compete with the other person because I have him to himself. He said, but he discovered something. He discovered that the friend that he had was not the person that was his friend beforehand, because his friend that died was the person that helped him to become the person that he was. He said, so something was missing in his personality because his friend had died. He says, I wasn't getting the same person. So now I'm getting half of the man, because to get the whole man would include the friend that was within his life. So personality, personhood. So the question is, who am I? Now that's that philosophical question. Who am I? Who am I really? You know, you go to philosophy, ask the question, who am I? What am I? And all of that. So we say personality is in question. How can I give expression to my personhood? Now, this is what, I think it was Tim Keller said this. Listen to this. He said, the weight of marriage does not create weaknesses, but rather expose weaknesses. He said it does not create weaknesses, but exposes weaknesses. Now, this is what he's saying here. He's saying, if I become the best person that I can be, marriage will expose to you things about you that you didn't know.
Yes. Yes.
Marriage, you thought it was her, you thought it was him, but marriage was really your mirror. That was your mirror. What happened? Now you begin to see your true self as a result of being related or being, when you're introduced or brought into a marital relationship, you can see who you really are. Because now, out of that interaction, out of that exchange, understand the two shall come. Now, what happens, things that you didn't know about yourself comes to the surface. Don't think that they just came to the surface. No, that's who you really are. That's the real you now. Oh, you just make me so upset. You make, no. What happened, the relationship brought it to the surface. Oh, I just don't like this. I don't like that altogether. Your marriage brought it to the surface. It's always in you, deep embedded within your personality. We mentioned now a new personality has emerged, but the true you, the true self. And to be honest with you, there are things that you don't see in you that you don't like about you. But because you don't see it, you don't know not to like it. But when it comes to the surface, you say, I can't stand when you do say, no, you're saying it's brought to the surface as a result of the relationship. It just brought it to the surface. I can't stand. So what happens when we begin to see things, the first question is, what about me must be changed so that I can respond rightly to the things that I see reflected. You see, I can respond rightly to things that are reflected, and also do a deep heart searching so that as I see myself, I'm not just disliking myself, but I'm at a place where I can be changed. Lord, change me. So understand, what happens, one way of putting it is that it is a confrontation of self. A confrontation with self. Self is confronting you. You're being confronted with yourself. I think I said many years ago, and I preached at the church, just many years ago, I talked about how we see ourselves and others see us. And then there are a lot of people that have poor self-esteem. Poor self-esteem. Enter into marriage and they have poor self-esteem. And what happens, you see, whatever is in you, you project it upon your spouse. If you have poor self-esteem, it is a matter of seeing, now you see faults within the other, whatever. But then, to help one another, I think I mentioned this, and I said, well, instead of allowing the world to define you, instead of the world defining you, because now you go into the world with all that poor self-esteem, that's what I add insult into it. You're going to get your feelings hurt. I want them to help me. I'm having a problem with myself, and I feel ugly. I feel unattractive. I feel fat. I feel this way, that, yeah. And you go to the world, they probably say they're either going to flatter you or they're going to undermine you, make you feel worse